the most important thing is being an avid reader, loving reading, being very aware of what you enjoy reading and the kind of literature that gets published in this country, and how the books that you're interested in, the language you want to work from, might fit into that culture. And that's just something that comes from reading a lot. Literary translators are more and more being considered as experts and as people who are sort of who are able to bring their knowledge and their expertise to a publisher who may not have that language or may not have the expertise. I think we're much more trusted than maybe we were a few years ago, just because of being more visible, and that visibility is only going to increase. And so hopefully, although it's still a profession that doesn't have any sort of clearly demarcated route to get into it, I think maybe in the future, even now, we're becoming much more sort of trusted practitioners. There are more MA courses now for people interested in literary translation. There are far more literary translation related events at all different kinds of book festivals and literary festivals in the UK and abroad, and those kind of things are increasingly always sold out. There are also far more summer schools than there were. I think the BCLT one has been around for about 10 years now, but there's also one called Use Your Language, Use Your English, and the Arvin Foundation this year ran their first ever literary translation workshop, which fingers crossed will run again next year and in years to come. So there's lots and lots of ways for young people or less experienced translators to get a sort of foot in the door, as it were. I recently, with two other younger translators, set up something called the Emerging Translators Network, which is a way for young or less experienced translators to seek advice, give each other advice, and ask the kind of questions that maybe they wouldn't want to ask a more experienced translator if they're not yet able to join the TA, which you can only do if you've published something or have a contract to publish something. So not everyone's in that position, so the Emerging Translators Network, or ETN, is a way for them to kind of, it sort of bridges the gap between having nothing and then joining the TA. Like any profession, I don't think it's something that anyone can do, but it's definitely not something that you need to be trained in, for example. You don't need, I mean, MAs are useful in terms of giving you contacts and giving you the sort of training in textual analysis and very close reading that you need to do as a translator. You don't need any kind of specialist knowledge. You need two languages and you need to love reading. I think you also need to be a little bit stubborn because although things are getting a lot better, it's still not as easy as it should be to have things published in translation in this country. So long as you love what you're doing and you're tenacious with it and pursue it, then there's no reason why you couldn't do it.